just a very quick introduction. We were entertainment industry. I guess technically we still are, even though we're not actively in the industry. We're entertainment industry professionals on the level of photography, videography, writers. We've produced, directed, primary prop maker, set design. We used to do costuming for a little while. Mm-hmm. And then discovered that people don't like their bodies. So it became a very stressful thing. So we went back to prop making.
We're the costume for ourselves now.
We've done a lot of things. And about 7-8 years ago, we had to leave the film industry and the mainstream industry. Between burnout and mental health struggles, it was just realistic to go back to doing our own thing. So we have our own little tiny shop space in our friend's basement here. And we have our 3D printer and we have our little cutter, but it's nowhere near what we had access to before. Mm-hmm. So in our hearts, we've started going back to a lot of our original skills and our original artistic stuff, and have discovered that there's a lot of people who want to learn that. And because, it's amazing how many times people come up to us and say, I bought a 3D printer and I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, different makes, manufacturers, materials, et cetera, so we're like, well, let's teach you how it started, the cheaper way, the more the original artistic way. That'll give you some time to play around with what's in your head, and
back to basics.
Then back to basics, yes. And then once you get to that point where you're ready to take on that 3D printer or sell it because you're just having too much fun doing paper mache, then you go back to it. We encourage a lot of questions. Right now, we have got our TikTok on the side. We are ignoring it. If once we're done here, you felt that there were questions not answered, we're going to give another half hour or so on TikTok for you guys to be able to get to those questions. But please make sure you come back to Kanji for the rest of their programming. Absolutely, and don't abandon them completely. I keep hoping that we could connect our TikTok to their Twitch, but that's neither here nor there right now.
One device,
okay. So we are going to be on TikTok past half an hour to an hour past the actual panel if you want to catch up with some stuff and get some answers. So I'm going to ask the video to be played. It's a video with some examples, older examples of mostly older examples of different places we've used paper mache.
This will make you cry.
This will make me cry.
Dart says you can answer on the Discord too.
I hate Discord. I'm sorry, Dart. I despise Discord on so many levels. All right. So here, this one, this is, I don't know how many of you are Whovians, but when we made the Candyman, this was years ago, we did everything from dipping styrofoam balls into white glue to make all the little candy bits. But the breastplate is all paper mache.
The bonbon.
In that case, we mache'd over a wooden carved form, and then wrapped. Once we were finished, we wrapped Saran wrap on it to make it look like a wrapped bonbon, just like the one in the show does, to give it that glossy look. So we're just going to whip through this. Video is about 7 minutes long. We're just going to whip through some of this stuff, and then we can come back to questions. And we've got samples and stuff behind us. Kosh was probably our biggest paper mache project. Underneath he is all, what did we use for the frame again?
We actually used, we got some steel wire to make sort of a cage,
the pipe.
and then PVC pipe.
It was PVC pipe.
PVC pipe, yeah.
So we used PVC pipe, and then we used chicken wire, and then we put the mache on top. And then airbrushed and then lacquered and sealed. He lasted quite a long period of time. The mistake we made was we didn't also mache on the other side of the chicken wire. So over time, moisture got between the two layers, or even if we had sealed it, maybe it would have lasted longer. But moisture got in between the wire and the mache and started separating it. So it lasted about maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
Before
he did at least a couple of cons in Toronto and made it to a couple of US cons as well. So
the head is not paper mache. In this case, it was a lot of styrene, and we used the tubes that go over fluorescent lights that were really popular back then to keep dust off your fluorescent lights. So we didn't mache the head. We only mache'd the yolk. We're going to go to a picture or two. Here's a picture. This was also our first introduction to stained glass paints, which was a lot of fun.
Detailing on the front panel.
A lot of fun. I think the next one is Bob and Dot. I think. Oops. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, from there, numeric.
Maybe.
Our van braces were. Yeah, we'll whip it
Yeah.
through, and then we'll make a space to actually get into more detail. We went looking for, because I used air dry clay to make my first Maleficent van braces, but I can't seem to find them. I know they're somewhere here, but we've moved so many times. But we accidentally found part of Bob's
Glitch.
van brace. So when we get big later on, after the video's over, we can show you this. The insides are gone. We used Velcro, which was awkward, but it did the job. And again, similar to the breast thing, we carved wood we guesstimated the size of our wrists. We carved wood to mache over top of. I used saran wrap between the two. We'll never do that again because it kind of became part of the mache. Was difficult to get out. And as you can see, the mache was strong enough to actually screw glitch to the van brace. So when we get bigger, you guys can ask a little more about that. That was like so much fun. And Gord's so easy to pick on.
Back in the mid-90s.
And we've found better ways to work with air dries when it comes to this kind of stuff. But there you go. We used we just found some reflective paper to put on top instead of doing a paint job. And mache'd the reflective paper the same way we did the mache underneath.
Yep. Stuck it down.
And it looks, as you can
Shiny
see, the look is great. You have to have patience with mache though. You have to make sure each layer is completely dry before putting on the next layer. Because if you get if moisture builds up in between the layers, you're done. You know, it'll get moldy from inside out. And glitch is all styrene, hand cut styrene.
Cleopatra. Here's where we start getting into the masks.
Yeah, those masks are behind us. This is still, we'll pull it forward later, but this is still the original 2 masks that we started this whole process with. He was glossier back then. He's kind of gotten dull over the years. But those are all mache, and that's how we do our masks now. Is carving a buck, they're called bucks, out of insulation foam. And now instead of saran wrap, we put foil in between layers, tin foil, because we found the tin foil was easier to pull off, and it doesn't slip and slide as much as the saran wrap was.
Yeah.
Those 2 though, when they were made, I'll show you once we're big. I'll show you Toth. He's actually still got the foam inside his nose, his beak, because we couldn't get it out. We couldn't get it out of there. But back then we carved up the buck. We carved it into little bits. We had cats running around the shop with statically clinged pieces of foam all over them. We had to keep remembering to close the shop door because it was just ridiculous. But they took a lot of time because we had to do that. We've now perfected a way where it's more hollow inside and we just snap the foam out. And then if we want to run it again, we glue it all back together.
Reassemble it.
The inside cap of my crown is also mache. We'd run out of time to figure out what to use. You'll see when she lifts it up, you'll just see the mache inside. We didn't paint it. We ran out of time. So you can just see the newspaper inside the crown there.
Okay.
But I had a full 360 casting of my head. And again, we put saran wrap over that and put the paper mache down.
And the skull cap that way. Yeah.
Then we used hot glue for all the detailings, and then just automotive paints on top. Automotive paints are amazing because they'll bite into and stick into anything. And that crown lasted me years and years and years. It only died.
I think we finally pulled it apart.
2018.
Yeah, just shortly before we moved back to Ontario.
This is a common technique. Again, we've got a balloon with some mache on top. That was just very quickly helmets done for a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know, a Lord of the Rings party. I forgot to put Maleficent's bracelet in here. Damn it.
No.
Oh well. I had the 3D printed one with us, but we couldn't find the air dry one. But we'll show you how we we do that kind of thing now. So let's make the video disappear. We've now got plenty of topics. So let's start with the oldest piece that we still have in our life, and that's half of Bob's vambrace. It had foam inside, and then we used Velcro. We did top and bottom. Because for both Bob and Dot, we basically took a piece of wood and carved it into a rough shape and guessed at the size of our wrists. It was really very much well, your arms are longer. Yeah, there we go.
It may still fit.
Yeah, it does.
And it's still durable.
This is about, I'd say about 20 layers of mache. And we did some research, in historically Victorian era wallpaper paste is very similar to the really good craft glue. We've used dollar store craft glue before, and it just doesn't do the same. And we also found it's dependent on your paper. If your paper is really lightweight, like this stuff was, it was just standard newspaper, as you can see.
Your usual grocery flyers.
You know, the white paste with water, and if you wanted to dry a little faster, you know, put some salt in it. We don't use the wheat stuff anymore, the stuff we did in school, because
Like
again,
flour and water, yeah.
Too much chance of bacteria, too much chance of rot inside your creation. But play with the levels, like do a test section first and make sure that it's going to go as hard as you want it to go. Smaller pieces, you don't have to worry about much else. It's just the mache. On our bigger pieces, we do a layer of plaster bandage, but we'll get to that in a minute. Brain. We had a hard time getting the Velcro to stay stuck to this.
Yeah, like the Velcro, because we were trying to glue it to the inside of the mache. The glue, like any tension on the Velcro, would start peeling away some of the paper on the mache, right? So it made it a little bit more difficult to keep it intact. And also using the Velcro, the person putting the vambraces on, like her basically putting them on me, had to try and get in on the ends to actually connect the Velcro to hold it properly.
So
it's a bit of a struggle.
if anyone's going to go to this kind of thing where you have to open it up to get it on and off, and we couldn't do a hinge because of the shape, right? Because you'd only have the hinge here, which won't support out here. If you're going to do this, we recommend that you do something like snap straps and rivet through the mache, and then do another layer on top, or use air dry clay to make it smooth again. We learned from our mistakes.
Yep.
If you're using heavier paper, use wood glue for your paste instead of white glue. And yes, there are differences. There are a lot of differences between your different pastes, like your different glues. I'm just going to whip through.
Wood glue is stronger. It's got a little bit more of a filler to it, and it's designed to saturate into wood fibers. So the heavier paper, it'll saturate into that better than the craft glue will.
But you really have to watch your water to glue ratio. You can do paper mache faster if you put more water, but you can't guarantee it's all going to stick together.
Yeah.
This was also before we started lacquering and sealing our paper mache. So the fact that it's still around, I think half of the reason why this has kept its shape is because glitch. Right.
So it's just kind of holding it together.
Right. Because the bottom half is completely gone. The bottom half was destroyed and collapsed, and
yours are gone as well.
Mine completely collapsed. So I think half of the reason why this is still together is because glitch is styrene.
A couple of questions. Do we use different types of paper? We do. Yeah, whether it's just the newsprint, we have some blank newsprint that we use occasionally. On a heavier project, we'll try and use some lightweight construction paper, but that's a little harder to go over complex shapes.
So these are both newsprint of one type or another. This is your standard flyer free newspaper, and it's very lightweight. I used to do a lot of bunched up details using tissue paper, saturated in the glue, saturated in the paste, but now I use air dry, which is much more reliable. Whereas this is a newsprint, an unprinted newsprint. This is the kind of newsprint you wrap shipping packages with, which is great for solidity, but it requires, like, it's better to use the wood paste on this.
Yeah. It's fortunate we have a roll of about 8 million feet of the stuff sitting in the background there over Christina's shoulder.
Our friend's father was a photographer with a newspaper.
So he managed to get this huge roll of paper, and it's been sitting around.
The cats are also using it. The cats are helping us. The cats are using it as a scratching post.
They help shred it.
So we come in and we pick up the shreddings off the floor.
Two other questions. Could Flex Bond be used? Actually, not familiar with Flex
Not
Bond.
familiar with that sponsor.
Product name or anything along those lines. But if it's like a latex based or a water based wood or paper glue, do some experiments with it and see whether it works out. And we don't do the mache with flour and water, as Christina was mentioning. There's too much risk of it going moldy in between layers, especially if it doesn't completely dry. Whereas the glues, they'll dry a lot more securely than flour and water mix.
These were made in 1997, and you can see the biggest damage for this guy is his ear.
Yeah. So they're almost 30 years old.
Okay. Don't use the flour.
Don't use flour.
Don't use the old flour technique. If you want the glue to dry a little faster, you can put salt in it. It will take away some of the moisture and make it dry faster, but it also means it can't sit around even sealed. Like, I mean, I keep my mache pastes in old yogurt containers.
Yeah.
Right. If you put salt in this, that will still, because the salt will always be trying to absorb all the moisture. Right. This guy was Martin's clever idea.
Yeah.
To make him as just the face, right? His nose and his mouth goes here. And then he sees through the gold part of the cloth. We didn't discover until we were on stage that the stage lights reflected off the gold and he became blind really fast.
I got so much glare in my vision.
But in this case, it's all kind of glued and padded. But the whole beak, we couldn't get the foam out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to keep in mind with your designs that yeah. And of course, I'm in Cleopatra, dead on a deathbed. And all I hear from my feet, because he's leading us off stage, all I hear from my feet is, shit, I'm blind.
I can't see.
And I'm like, oh God, I gotta stay dead. I gotta stay dead. I gotta stay dead. So keep that in mind. If there's part of your design, be willing to leave the foam in there if it's not gonna pull out. Which is why all the foam is here. I know it's the new Anubis, but it's the same kind of thing.
Anubis?
I
had my Dart armor in 2000, but it was flour and fell apart after about 6 years.
Yeah, it's
like I said, these are almost 30 years old.
So that's a buck. This is how we do them now, empty inside. So we snap these after we're satisfied, right, to help it pull out. Right, but you'll notice no ears. Right, the ears are cardboard later, and then paper mache on top until it's solid. Okay, but this is a buck. This is what we're talking about. So it's carved.
Actually, I should have grabbed that. We have a buck.
And then
buck. We did it to your mask as well.
Shush, we don't have much time. We're used to 2-hour panel spots. Okay. So we're plowing through unless someone disturbs us with a question.
Okay.
Okay. So you can see I left this little piece of foil after I pulled the last one off, so you guys can see. So yeah, I used just masking tape and foil just to keep it's separated, and make sure you curve the foil into the eyes, which brings forth this guy. This is my most recent. These can fly out right now. It doesn't matter where they go. Yeah, just put them somewhere. Okay. So this is the Jaguar that I'm working on right now. So Martin carved the buck, again, hollow. You can see all the tin foil, right? Use masking tape, because even if the masking tape becomes one with your mache, that's fine. It's masking tape. You can always do another layer inside if you find that your carved shape is going to be too big. If you keep mashing outside, do it part way so it's solid enough. Then take your buck out and then mache inside for more support. We do about 6 layers of paper mache or papier mache.
Papier mache.
And then this is a closed container because I don't want a lot of dust.
It's got a tear in it.
It's got a tear in it, but then we just get off Amazon a box of a whole bunch of these. You have to cut it into really small pieces though, because you don't want to spread the mesh of the plaster bandage out too much, right? You want it to stay as together as possible, and you want it to smooth out the shade. And it does, it smooths it out because it's a mesh. So this is my next layer of support now. That way I don't have to do 20 or 30 layers, right? Sticks, plaster bandage, like, you know, broken bone bandage, right? As I used to call
Cast
it.
bandage, yeah.
And then another layer, another 3 layers of mesh,
Oh, 3, yeah.
right? Then I lacquer, then I sand, then I paint, then I seal it with a fine layer of that lacquer. And the ears are done separately. They get their own little buck, right? I leave it open. Once I put enough layers on the back, the buck comes out the front, and then I just cut a piece of cardboard. This is where I use tissue paper. I shove tissue paper between the layers, mash it and seal it in.
The kind of lacquer we usually use a spray, like a automotive spray.
I stopped using the spray.
Oh, that's right. We have we're using the brush
because
on.
our existing situation,
We don't have spray
and it's still put away somewhere.
moved into the curl space.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't think of that. We tried to keep things in reach, but we've moved so many times. I went for the best priced clear outdoor lacquer.
Like a brush on.
And a soft brush. Don't use one that's like really rough bristles, because then you get the streaks in your lacquer, and they're not guaranteed to level out.
Yeah. Lula Rush Cosplay asked, is this not heavy? The paper mache, it's not too bad. I think RTO is one of the heavier ones.
RTO is one of the heaviest ones,
but,
because she's got the most air dry.
She's maybe about 3 or 4 pounds at the most. Which, I mean, compared with something like a fursuit head, or even like a motorcycle helmet, it's equivalent, if not a little bit lighter.
But she's an example of this style of ear, right? So I left the top 2 layers undone until I had created the ear. And then I macheted the ear down with the top 2 layers. So it's all painted together as one piece. We don't have a way to airbrush right now in our current situation. So I've gone back to an old technique I used to use, and that's using sponges of different grades and different densities. And this is called sponge painting. It's similar, very similar to airbrushing. And it gets a similar effect. But play. Don't go right to your mask and use sponge painting. Play. Get it right. Because if you start layering up on here, then you're gonna, yeah. At least I find I get all pissy. Now RTO is a good example. Yeah, they're not super heavy.
No.
That's why you do the.
She's adorable. It's unbearable.
Our goal is to make, if you look on our TikTok and all our pages and stuff, our goal is to make a spirit animal for each major culture that we can. And I'm talking to art galleries. I've been trying to get into Vernal Equinox to be a vendor, because I think these deserve their actual value, considering how long these take me, about a month each in time, accumulated time. Because I really want to make sure they stay together. So they're worth it easily $1,000. So really, we've brought them to a lot of markets that we've done with our games and repurposed items and stuff, because technically it's repurposed items. Yeah, so we're right now talking to about 3 or 4 art galleries, and we want to, at the end of the summer, do a showing. And in the meantime, we're making TikTok content with them. We always wear a mask. And this is the thing too, if you're going to things like Vernal Equinox, or even if you're testing your own process piece by piece, wear a mask, because you don't want your bacteria in there either. And until it's completely sealed inside, you really can't clean it.
Dart says your time is worth it, right, Caitlin?
It's hard. There was a time in our life in the entertainment industry where we were making about 900 each a week. And when you think about
On
it,
average,
that's
yeah.
about 10 to 10 and a half months of the year because there's gaps in between productions all the time. And now because of whole mental health, and yes, like we were watching some of that art and commercialism, and yeah, it's hard to value yourself when you're an artist. So now going back to doing something for ourselves and realizing we don't have space to keep them all. Trust me, if I could, if I still had the full house, these would be up on the wall and they'd be mine forever.
You know how older houses have like a plate rail with all the old plates? We'd have a plate rail with all these
With
heads
masks.
on it.
RTO is the first time I used this much air dry. I went through a whole package of air dry. Her nose, and I thought I'd experiment. You know how I told you not to experiment on your actual items? Yeah, do what I say, don't do what I do.
But this turned out beautifully. All the fur texture.
That's all air dry. So I'm going to switch quickly to air dry. And again, keep asking the questions. If we have to go back a little bit, we will. And like I said, if you catch us over on TikTok for a little bit, no, because that's two different air dries.
Air dry, yeah.
Okay. So we went and spent our coffee money on air dries we will never use.
What kind of air dry? We'll get into that in a moment.
Right here, this guy, the Jaguar, has got the cheap dollar store air dry on his nose.
Yeah.
I'm going to be chipping it off.
Yeah. It went on okay. It looked okay as it went on. But as it dried. We were trying to do vines on one here.
Do vines on a wand. And this is all the kind of stuff I normally do with the Premier air dry. You can see it all fell off. It cracked. It left a mess. As an air dry, it was too much like clay. And even here, it's not properly bonding. Like that's powder.
And the snout's cracking. Yeah.
That's powder. So it's not properly bonding in this. So I'm going to have to clean it off. I did that for you guys.
Just for
Did that for you guys. But that is this stuff. It's your cheap dollar store. I don't recommend anyone use it at all because it's still powdery when you're done. You can feel the weight in the package. Like if you feel this package and then you feel the other ones I'm about to show you, this is literally clay.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
It's too powdery. It's too crumbly. It doesn't hold its shape.
Yep.
Then we've got what you normally buy at Michael's. And I thought, you know what?
Anymore, do we?
I got it secondhand. Well, I got it secondhand.
Oh, that's right. It didn't have a label.
I cut it off of Carrot.
Someone on Carrot, yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I'm not paying the full price that Michael's. And again, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. It went on the cap for this test one. It went on the cap okay. It's got a little, it's really lightweight, but it's got tiny, like a micro mat. So weight-wise, this is amazing. And if it's on another surface, it bonds to it nicely and it stays in one piece. But it's working texture.
Stuff is weird. It's more like silly putty than anything else. Yeah, it's so hard to work with. It doesn't stick to anything but itself.
As well, you can push it against something and it stays. It's stayed on here. It won't slide off,
Stayed on
right?
there, yeah.
But it's sticky. I feel like I'm working with chewing gum.
Yeah.
I can't get any sculpt out of this. I mean, it's fabulous if you're just making little shapes or something. It's okay. It's fine for that. But if you want any detail out of it, forget it.
Yara says when I do mache, I keep the paper I sand off and mix that with more mache mix to make my own paper clay. You don't get much though, but it's nice to reuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too so. This stuff is way too soft, and when it dries, we expected it to have some flexibility when it sets, but no, it's brittle.
I mean,
It's actually quite
I made
brittle.
some baby flowers, and here's where I'm going to demonstrate. I mean, you're going to get some brittleness from air dry clays, but it shouldn't snap that easily.
Yeah.
It should have enough flex that it stays put. Don't invest in this stuff unless you're not doing any detailing. So the winner for us has been for years. It dries really well. It forms really nicely. It doesn't, if you let it dry properly, it doesn't crack. It's held when you put the package back, but oh, we could have brought out
They
gingerbread
like
too.
the air dry paper clay you get at Michael's. I know exactly where they are.
What?
Did you first? I know exactly where they are.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
We're so used to having
We're
like
used
2
to having
hours
2 hour
for
panels. I get it.
Uh,
But we're also used to having a lot more subject matter too. So
it's true.
we're going to be kind to ourselves.
Just managing something on TikTok.
Okay, we're
Right.
going to be
Okay.
nice.
We're gonna be nice. Okay.
We converted. Sorry, but we're
We're doing great. Okay.
we had to find a super light air dry because I used to work with like Fimo and Sculpey and all that stuff. But we started doing these little electronic birds that we called the mechanaries. And we used to sell them a lot. They've kind of slowed down in sales because we can't find a base bird anymore.
Mhm.
And it would be too expensive to make them completely from scratch. So we needed to find an air dry that was super, super light to do the top hats and their little clothes and their little pilot caps and stuff like that. And we went through about 20 different air dries before we settled on this stuff. Premier, I think they changed the packaging because they used to say La Doll or something like that. But it's still the same company and everything. The Premier air dry is the lightest we found. And it stays together. That's what her nose is.
And all fur.
And all the fur.
Yeah.
That's this stuff. This is also Premier. Little dragon necklace. Kind of hard to. But in the case of this one, we did not let the air dry completely dry. We started painting it before it was completely dry. So the moisture in the air dry kind of combined with the moisture of the paint. And we sealed it as an afterthought, but that didn't stop. I don't wear it anymore because whenever time I sweat, the paint and the upper layer of the air dry comes off on my skin. Just wears off. And you can see the tops of the horns as well are worn down. So even this has its limitations. You have to treat it right. It has to completely dry before you paint it, before you seal it, because if it doesn't, it absorbs any moisture you put on it into it, and it never completely sets. As you can see, it's a really solid product, right? Like, I mean, this has been around for years.
Yeah.
But I painted it too soon. All the moisture was not out of it, and that's affected it. So I can't wear it anymore, unfortunately, because I really, really love it. But yeah, all the moisture combined and it never properly set. So now when I sweat, it says, ooh, look, more moisture. I lacquered it and it went, ooh, look, more moisture. So when you're dealing with any kind of paper mache, the air dries, anything like that. Oh, and that's the other thing about Premier too, is it's kid safe.
That's right. Yeah.
But only take out a piece at a time of what you're using, because it does.
Yeah. Keep it in keep
Goes
the rest
crunchy
in a
pretty
sealed
fast.
Ziploc with, squeeze as much air out of it as you can.
Which is half the reason I did this. I had half a block to use up because it had been sitting around too long, with all the air pushed out of the Ziploc and everything. So I'd been sitting around too long and I'm like, gotta use it. Hey, let's get the bare fur and see what happens. Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Turned out
and
really good.
this stuff, when you wet your hands to try to work with it, it's like clay. I almost think it should be fired, right? You wet your hand with the stuff from Michael's, and it did nothing. It was still sticky. You wet your tool or your hands when working with the Premiere. It's nice. It slides.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You can shape smooth and stuff like that with it really nicely.
Brain. Any new questions?
No. Dart says really like the air dry paper clay you get at Michael's, which might actually be the Premiere you're talking about.
Yeah, you
Kiara
can get
says, yeah, I
Premiere.
like that stuff too. Lily loves it. Awesome.
These are mache on cardboard, which is another way you can, practice your painting and stuff like that too. We downloaded some free mask designs and taped them with packing tape. Like printed them out on cardstock, taped them with packing tape, and then mache'd over top of it in order to stick it together. You can see doing it this way, you can't get as many smooth edges, right? See how smooth she is and how he's got a faceted he is. But putting the mache on top gave me a chance to give him a little more details and play with painting, and this kind of thing too is good for armor and stuff, right? Do it in cardboard first. Like there's a lot of download. I know, isn't that cool? Here, there's your next character. There's your next.
Dart says it's Creative Paper Clay. I went and looked for the brand.
Oh, cool.
Creative Paper Clay. Yeah, I don't think we've tried that one before.
No, like I said, I don't remember what the multicolored one was. It was
definitely.
It was on the
paper clay.
listing.
Yeah.
It's just blah. Blah, that's money wasted. Well, not wasted because we were able to educate more.
Exactly.
Education.
And luckily we got it off someone on Carrot, not actually full price at the store.
Yeah, it's like $30 or something in the store, and I got it for like 15.
Cosplay mother.
Hey, cosplay mom. Awesome. So this kind of thing is good too because there's so many download patterns. Just get some cheap cardstock, right? Throw it in your printer, cut it out, and then use the actual paper mache or air dry clay to get the rest of the shape out of it. I'm thinking of making a few more of these for events and other markets. Have these in an art show and have these for sale at markets.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I haven't decided yet.
Dart asks, do you do dark washes on your paint jobs to bring out all of the details?
Not really. Like, I mean, on mechanics, one of my specialties in the film industry was faux painting, faux finishes. So plastic looking like metal and stuff. And I would on things like that. I would do highlights, lowlights. I would do a wash and rub. I'd use 4 different colors of silver spray paint overlapping when they're partially dry. And that's a whole other panel. But things like this, I really heavily use the sponge detailing and or airbrushing if I've got a paint booth. But yeah, it depends. Like if you want that organic look, then that doesn't make sense. If you want that more metallic look, then it does. And you can, but you got to seal it. Seal it first. Seal your mache first, so that it doesn't, and your air dries first, so it doesn't try to soak up your paint job. Because it will.
Yeah.
It will. And keep in mind your shape. Your mache should always do a crisscross or an overlap of some sort that gives it support. So even if you have to cut small pieces to do a crisscross in the possibility of the weakest area. And here we actually did this for you guys a while ago, so the balloon had shrunk. You're supposed to do this much faster than we did. So for example, you want to whip up a quick helmet. You blow up a balloon to approximately the size. Don't completely, because the less you have to cut off later on, the better. And we only went one way on air on TikTok. Martin didn't get a chance to go the other way, but you crisscross your balloon.
Yeah.
And
Alternating layers, basically. Yeah.
when you go across a tighter surface, skinnier strips. If you go across a longer surface, you can go wider.
Dart asks, seal with wood glue or Dodge Punch, Mod Punch, white glue,
lacquer.
or lacquer.
Lacquer.
We prefer using a lacquer. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. And a good outdoor lacquer you can sand and then do your paint job. And then, yeah, something like this is also a good way if you want to make pinatas.
Yep.
Right. Except remember with a pinata, you want it to fall apart.
Yeah, so don't make a pinata that's 20 layers. It'll really annoy the kids at the party.
And don't crisscross as many times. Like just do like 2-3 layers in the same direction. Crisscross once. And then do like 2 layers again in the same direction. If you're dominantly in one direction, it's weaker. And the kids will be able to break it open. And then you pop the balloon later. And then when you pop the balloon.
Yeah, the lacquer we use is water-based. Again,
Yes,
because of
easier to clean up.
fumes and
Pop.
cleanup.
Oh,
Pop. Oh, pop.
Pop.
I need something to pop with.
pop.
Need something to pop with.
Let's all get excited and pop the balloon.
Yeah. Back in a sec. A couple of other questions there on
Okay.
on the chat screen.
This electro water base. Wood glue is great, but it's hard to sand smooth. You have to let it dry properly and you have to put the right portion of water.
Mm-hmm. And
Ta-da.
dust blows everywhere. Now,
More
that's a
layers,
very,
right?
Very flexible helmet.
But yeah, and then you cut out the appropriate opening and
Yeah, I'm not putting that on my head.
yes you are.
No, no. No, no.
But again, lacquer inside and out. And make sure it's completely dry. This is more than completely dry. But what I love is how smooth, how smooth it is where the balloon was. Because it's
It's
just,
almost shiny on the inside.
it's slippery inside. Come on. I'm already wearing a hat.
Oh, I see. Let's see. I think it needs to be opened up a little bit more to fit my head into it.
We've been having fun to make sure we have
Type on
samples for
3
you.
wood glue to coat. When dry, it's waterproof and takes all kinds of paint, even auto spray. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of why we use lacquer. And lacquer, it does dry harder, so it is easier to sand smooth than any of the wood glues because the wood glues are rubbery. Right?
Now these are the 3D printed version. The air dry version that we first made seem to be missing. They probably came to a convention to be part of a panel or something like that and are in a box somewhere. But we did the first version of my Maleficent bracelets. We did an air dry clay. And again, lacquered before painting, used the spray paint as a basis, then used an acrylic to get all the highlights and lowlights out of it. But I brought the 3D printed one out anyway because this is one of our magic secrets. And you can get away with this, especially with air dry, and especially if you seal it, because again, you don't want the sweat to affect the air dry. The hinged release. So what we did was we took small hinges, okay, and we took small hinges. We popped the pin out. We got hinges that we could pop the pins out. And then we took a little piece of metal rod, bent it so it's got a little handle, right? One on each side. Turn it around, pull it out. Boom. You can get away with this with air dry. You can get away with this with wood. You can get away with this on so many things. And then, it just goes around your wrist. And then the pins go back in. The first time we used this kind of design in fandom was, for those of you who were around back then, was when we remade the Classic Trek Bridge for Tron Trek. Every single one of those sections was very large pinned together. So
full size hinges with large removable pins.
And because of the design of each section being kind of angled on the edges, they fall towards the front, so they kind of lock themselves together. And then we put the pin back in the hinges, and that kept it standing. So each of those sections came in as a big video game console, basically. So the same theory can be used on all of your air dry stuff. We've never tried the kind of hinge thing with MACHIE before, but we know it works on air dry. You have to let the air dry set completely, and you have to seal it so moisture doesn't get in there. And in this case, I can't remember which glue was it. Was it crazy glue?
I think we used contact cement for those.
Was it contact cement? You have an obsession with
I
contact cement.
like contact cement, yeah.
I don't. We do
I mean,
have
other things
disagreements.
you could use is like Gorilla Glue, Tight Bond, whatever your preference is. Give it a try first. You know, do up a sample piece and give it a try, and then see how that works.
I've gone through all our samples that we could find
I think
because
so.
everything else is still packed or missing. Okay, what do you want us to go back on?
Any other questions? Anything you'd like to see again? Love-hate relationships, yeah.
38 years. Haven't killed him yet.
Because I'm quick and I swerve.
And you can't stick out your tongue. Your tongue's attached.
My
your
tongue's attached underneath.
Mine is not.
Not really is.
No,
Meant the contact cement. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is it. Her answer is always, "We'll hot glue it." My answer is always, "We'll contact cement it."
always hot glue.
Not always hot glue.
The majority of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
But on
And
metal,
every once in a
no.
while, I'll go, hot glue would be the best thing for this. And she goes, see.
You see, there's a lot of alternatives to contact cement that work.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of alternatives to hot glue that work.
That's true. Yeah.
When hot glue works, it works.
Sometimes a little too well.
Oh, it took me a number of years, again, back in the 80s, to learn that low temp hot glue in a high temp gun is suicide.
Oh, it
That
comes
stucker
out so liquid.
rolled down the middle of my fingers, and I had, what was it, 2nd-degree burns?
Yeah. Hot glue between two of her fingers because it poured down, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yep. I always check the temperature of my gun in relationship to the glue sticks I'm using. I will never do that mistake again. And it's a thing, and the thing with a really good air dry, like the Premier, the good thing about a really good air dry is once it sets, it sets.
Mhm.
So if you're going to screw up, sacrifice the stuff. Like no
Yeah.
matter how much you paid for it, sacrifice it and scrape it off before it sets, because then you're done.
Yep.
I mean, this was a risk because I didn't know how it was going to look until I painted it. Seal the inside. Always seal the inside. Like seal both sides.
Yeah, the inside of the mask, because you're going to get moisture, from sweating and stuff like that too, and even just from whatever environment you're in.
I know a friend of ours used to do a lot of things on top of various materials by taking sawdust and mixing it with wood glue. I don't like that technique because all it takes is a couple bits in the sawdust that are slightly different size, and then you're screwed. You're poking yourself, or it's the shape is not coming to form, or this is why we rarely do things virtually anymore. Hi, you're interrupting. Do you want to say hi anyway? And this is our latest paper mache project.
This was a tricky one because it has
to
flexible
move.
and
Yeah, it had to move.
Hi, you.
And the fur we had to glue on every single hair. What? Is your wound healing?
We had to glue on every single hair. It was a flocking nightmare. Hi. So much flocking.
I have put hair into a layer of mache. I put a little hot glue, stick the strands in, and then put mache over the base so it looks like it's growing out. It is feasible. Just it's always recommended to do something like a glue that dries really fast, and then mache over top.
Yeah.
Not a lot of hot glue, just enough to hold it. Just enough.
Just enough to hold it. Yeah, a little bead of hot glue.
Do we have time?
We're at
No.
4:48.
Because I was going to say go grab Sekhmet. Has her big disc and everything. We do a combination of 3D printing and like our deer representing Hearn. His disc in the middle is 3D printing.
Karis is 10 minutes. I'll go grab her.
Quick! And the buck. Might as well grab the buck.
And the deer.
Yeah, grab them both. run. The cat's following him. Jinx is following him upstairs. Jinx is like, why are we running, Daddy? Okay, we're running. Jinx, we've been doing a lot of construction here. And he found something, either a tool or whatever, and he rubbed up against it. So his top of his eye. And I've never had any of them open open a wound or anything like that, or do something like that over their eyes. So we kind of panicked because it was starting to pus. And $250 we didn't have later, emergency vet. So he's been in a cone for about a week, and then yeah, we cut the fur away so that it would heal properly, and so it's been an adventure. Segment
Your
here.
snake is
Oh.
coming loose.
Yeah, the snake is coming loose. I'm gonna have to re-glue it, but she's been bumped around, moved and moved and moved and moved. Here's Segment. She's heavy, partially because
Pull Archie
this
out
is my
of the
personal
way.
one. This is not one I plan on selling. Because she's my personal. Same with Toth. That Martin's personal is Toth. He's very connected. Segment's heavy because of all her hair. And I know it would have been cheaper to it's not cheaper.
Says our
Actually.
kitties are stressed because we have construction next door. Did you respond to that one?
No.
Our kitties are stressed because we have construction in the house.
Yeah, when the snow started falling, we couldn't just dump things outside the door. It's not a very big space, so the camera makes it look big. But that took forever to braid. It was cheaper to do it that way. It just took forever. And again, hot glued, high temp, holding
Show
on.
it around the camera side. Yeah.
Right, all the hair. This is paper. This is just a piece of cardboard. Again, metallic paints. I put MACHIE on top of it to give it more solidity, and lacquered it again so it won't keep absorbing. But the snake is 3D printed, goes over top. The snake is completely 3D printed. In her case, I have to put some sort of vent or something in the back because I actually wear her. And again, all automotive paints. I didn't sand as much because we were running out of time. It was our first time at a Fernal Equinox. And it was my first time getting back in a mask. I used to do mascot work in the early 90s and got beaten up. And I was tired of him having all the fun.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to the furry community for helping me overcome those fears. But in her case, I chose sunglass lenses from the dollar store to put in her eyes. And there's a fan in her nose, but I think there has to be a fan behind the disc to get heat out. So heat in, heat out.
Yeah. Cool area and hot air out.
So she's a nice combination of 3D printing and hair and MACHIE. And again, it's the same kind of thing. Did the ears first and then shoved it full of paste covered tissue, and then put the cardboard in front to get the front of the ear, and then sealed it. Yeah, I didn't really sand her. I should have, but and where's? But yeah, carve your buck. It's the best way to do it, and make sure you carve your bucks empty, like hollow. Or historically it would have been wood and linen with tree sap, so you can see that the nose is soft. Okay. So
Last piece.
the deer. He's actually got fur in his ears because I felt it necessary. Again, it's the foam, the sponge technique for the paint, and that's a 3D printed disc in the middle. Martin's specialty in the film industry was a 3D design.
Thank you, Christophine.
And
says you guys are so talented.
Thank you. I call it boredom. And high functioning brain. It has to keep doing things or it kind of explodes on itself. But left the basically made the horns out of the same foam that we carve with, and then machied around the foam to get the antlers. Any last question? And again, if you guys want to come over for the next half hour or so, Or, you know, you can send us messages on TikTok and stuff. We're over there a lot, and ask questions or keep up to date. We're hoping to start using Twitch again. It's just we're not there yet. I can't think of what other things to say without questions. Questions. Last question.
Kira, I missed the very beginning. What foam do you use? We use the insulation foam, like the pink foam you can get from the building supply stores.
The pink and the blue.
It's
You
best.
just layer it up.
We don't like using the white styrofoam because it just pellets, right? When you try to carve it, it just pellets all over the place. So this stuff at least carves nicely with a knife.
If you want to save some
Sandable.
money, go to construction companies and ask them if they have any scraps. Because you're layering them and sticking them together. Sticking them together, we use the hot glue carefully. Because if it's too high temp hot glue, like the lower temp hot glue, because it only has to stay together long enough for you to use it. We used to use double-sided tape, but that got too expensive.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. That was a wonderful panel, and thank you for showing
Thank
off
you.
all of your crazy creations. So thank you very much, guys.